Well, hello, Rec Poker Nation. It's Thursday night. You know what that means? It's time for, well, we'd usually call it Twitch Thursday with Taylor, but Taylor's in the production booth tonight. So instead, it's Twitch Twitch Thursday, MaREC Madness edition. We got Kim laughing already. That's great. We're off to a great start. We got some friendly Chad in the chat already from Com Binkley, Mr. Diz, and Steve Fredland himself, the big dog. Well, we're here. We made it. It's Rec Poker MaREC Madness. I'm your host, your co-host tonight, Jim Reid. Bluff Sterini in the home games, and as you can see down there, you can reach me on Twitter at Hold'em_Steelers. And because I'm a member of the Wrecking Crew at Rec Poker, you can also find out all about me by going to rec.poker/Jim Reid. And my friend joining me in the booth today is Kim Kilroy, who I'm happy to introduce as our newest member of the Wrecking Crew. Kim Pet Vet, welcome to the crew.
Thanks, Jim. Super excited to be part of the Wrecking Crew. This is my debutante party. It's not really about the MaREC Madness. It's my, it's my coming out party here for the Wrecking Crew. Anyway, I'm super excited to be part of it. I'm looking at starting up some groups, and I've got a new page on there, so everybody should check it out. And I don't know what to say. I'm just excited to be part of the team.
Oh,
I think
that's
it's
great.
been a long time coming since you've had a female on board for the team.
I agree. Darn right.
So we need some female input, and I just want to talk about a couple of things I want to get started. If that's all right?
Yeah, now's a great time. Do it.
So I'd like to get a woman-centric group going. Welcome to all members, male and female, but it's going to be a place where women can come and talk about poker in a safe place and talk about the obstacles we sometimes face playing live poker versus online. And also I want to bring in some guests, some female guests to talk to the group, and just everything to do with poker, and also maybe do some hand histories for women and do some anything anybody wants to do. I'll start the group. I'll see how many members I get, and we'll go from there. It'll be open to whatever people want to do.
That sounds great. I know there's a need for that kind of a voice in poker right now, so I'm glad you're taking that.
Yeah, there's a lot of controversy right now with GG Poker and Dan Bilzerian and all of that stuff, and Vanessa Kate, and the whole conflicts going on there. So we can all talk about that, and everybody can sort of get their 2 cents out there.
Yeah.
One of the other things I want to do is I want to start a travel group. So I first came into poker and just as a recreational player, and what I've been doing for the last 7 or 8 years is traveling around the world playing poker. And I'm a retired veterinarian and needed another focus after I retired. So decided to start playing poker and just traveling, meeting people, men, women, all over the world. I just love to go and play poker in various places. So needless to say, COVID has been a bit of a shutdown on the lifestyle. So
yeah,
when I found, yeah, you could say that. So when I found Rec Poker, it was like a lifeline. I could be social with the members on Rec Poker, and I could also play. But I really miss the travel. So as we open up from COVID, I'd like to start a travel group. And for members that want to connect, to go to places, we can talk about different tours that are coming up, different places to go. People can reach out to other members to maybe share a house, to maybe swap spots in a tournament, like all sorts of things to do with traveling. So, because that's one of my passions, is to travel and play poker. And then the one thing I really like to do too is to do hand histories. So I would like to start a hand history group, and just for any member that wants to put in a hand history, we'll do a hand history once a month to go through it.
I
So
got some
those
bad
are my
news.
ideas.
I got some bad news, Kim. No one at Rec Poker likes going through hand histories. Sorry,
Oh, we love it.
yeah, no, sorry. I checked around. People don't. Yeah, I don't think you're
We're
gonna have any
nerds.
trouble. I don't think you're gonna have any trouble finding some people for your hand history group. But that's great, and I'm so glad that you come aboard. I know you found Rec Poker last summer, last fall, and it didn't take you long to get involved in the book study and in the study groups and in the seminars and stuff. And you've been a great voice in the room for a lot of the learning stuff we've been doing. So it's great to bring you on, and I'm excited to have you here tonight.
Thanks.
So this is MaREC Madness.
Exciting.
It is. Can you feel it? Can you feel the electricity in the air? And
Yeah.
we're half the matches have been played. So just to go over kind of the overview for our listeners or for our watchers here, I'm used to doing the podcast. So we started with eight of our core team members going head to head in this ladder bracket tournament. And we recently partnered up with Learn Pro Poker for a bunch of learning materials and community events that we're doing. And so Ryan LaPlante offered to donate a prize to the winner of the tournament. And we also put some prizes together for players who could put a bracket together and see who could get a perfect bracket by the time the tournament was over. And we'll touch in on that again a little later in the show. So half the matches have been played. In previous weeks, Taylor and Ben were commentating in week one, and we watched Rob and John play, and we watched Chris and Chad play, and that was really exciting. Kim, did you get a chance to follow that action? I know Taylor and Ben were doing a fantastic job up in the booth, and I mean, it's fun for me. I've played with a lot of these players in the home game, and I've talked with them every week for a couple years now in the podcast. And I sort of feel like I have some ideas about how they play. Kim, as someone who's come along a little more recently, do you have any tells or notes or anything about some players that you feel like might give you an edge?
Well, you'd have to kill me if you wanted to find out those notes.
That's
I'm
fair.
not giving that away.
All right. Well,
But yeah, it
good
was great to
answer.
watch.
It was. And Rob ended up pulling it out over John, and Chris took the Twitter veteran Chad out in that one, unfortunately, and broke a bunch of brackets in that first week. And then last week, Chris and Rob had to play nice, even though I could tell it was hard because they knew just a week later they were going to be going at it themselves head to head in our first match tonight. But they did a good job. They pretended to just like keep the bloodlust down. I could tell they were doing a good job of staying friendly. And they got to watch Andrew in a spirited battle with our fearless leader, Steve, and Taylor himself, who took out website Mark. And those matches had a lot of play in them. Well, actually, I felt bad for Steve, who, if memory served, flopped the straight and then went runner to Andrew's higher straight or flush or something like that. That really was the heartbreaker for that game. I remember that hardly seemed fair. But so as we say, so that's 4 matches down. Kim, was there like a moment of last week that made you think, oh boy, what have we gotten ourselves into here? Or
No, not exactly. It was a bit of a cooler on Steve's part for poor Steve. But just shows us that happens in poker all the time.
It's true.
You don't want it to happen in your heads up match, but unfortunately, that's poker for you.
That's poker.
And yeah,
And
and Taylor and Mark's match was really good. I enjoyed watching that. It went a nice long time. So it was good to watch. And I thought maybe Taylor got the better of the deck handed to him, but it was a good match.
Yeah, I like it when and these structures are so fantastic. Like, so John Somsky sets the structures for all the Rec Poker home games that go on, and we have a big player pool in those. And by the time you get to the final table, and even by the time you get down to 3 or 4 handed, even heads up, there's still quite a lot of play. The stacks are pretty deep, and this follows a similar format. So I think if you don't get dealt the straight and go runner runner, I think there will be some play to be had. So now we are oh, and actually, but one of the things that's great about this is the championship match that's coming up next week, because there is some variance involved in these, and one hand can often make all the difference. Our championship matchup is actually a 2 out of 3. And I think I mentioned that Ryan LaPlante had offered some prizes to come and to benefit the winner and some of the winners of our brackets. He's actually also going to join me in the booth next week. So I'm kind of just pinching myself all week just to make sure that I'm not dreaming. With this dream team, I get Pet Vet week 1, Ryan LaPlante week 2. Obviously, I'm doing something right. So we're going to have a great time
He's
on Thursday, the 25th.
He's going to have a pretty tough act to follow.
Yes, that's right. The one thing I know for sure is that between the three of us, there's not going to be a lot of dead air time. I think we can account for that. I don't think people are going to have to worry too much about any dead air time with the way that with three of us like to chat. So those are the matchups so far. The first one tonight is Chris versus Rob. So we've been, just to take you behind the curtain, we all work together, and it's been tough seeing these guys going head to head this week. We've had to like physically get in between them a few times. There's been a lot of hot blood. There's been a lot of cursing, some language that I think some people would like to take back. But we're all grown ups here. We're all trying to be good competitors. So it's going to be fun watching these two duke it out. I think Chris and Rob are two great poker minds that I've really enjoyed talking poker strategy with over the last couple of years. I'm not sure there's I thought in advance about trying to pick some of these matches. I don't know if I have a clear favorite here. I have a prediction, but Kim, what's your take on this? Is there something about
Well,
Chris or Rob that you think gives them the edge?
no, would say, like, in my opinion, Rob is a little more trappy. He can be very trappy. He can also be a little more passive. So Chris is pretty close to GTO, and we'll see what wins out in the short term. Of course, one match, we can't tell from one match, but it's sort of where the cards will end up. But it'll be very interesting. I think it's going to be close with two different styles coming head to head.
Yep, I think so too. And I think they're both very strategic players. They've both studied a lot. They both are big picture poker players, by which I mean like their strategy is developed across the entire range and across the entire, multiple streets of hands. They're not reactive players. And I know they've thought about what their limping strategy is going to be, what their pre-flop strategy is going to be, the kind of edges they're going to take post flop. So I think it's going to be very close. I agree. I think Chris, there's something about Chris that he's like a technician. He's very dialed into the details of what makes this exact thing a right play in the long run. He develops every branch of his decision tree, so he knows how to be perfectly balanced, and he knows when to deviate from that. And I think that's why on Twitter he was the favorite. We put a poll out earlier, and which you do for every match, and Chris was the popular choice. Rob has such a great feel for the game. Like he really is such a natural player that I think he's very good at feeling the flow and the dynamic of the game. And I think that makes him very good at kind of reading his opponent, deciding where in his distribution he should be. And I think that allows him to make some really good exploits that I don't know if I mean, he's mostly a live player though. So I don't know if he'll have the same kind of feedback playing online. You play mostly
Intuitive.
live too. Yeah,
Intuitive.
intuitive. That's right.
Yeah.
Now, Kim, you play live mostly, and you've adjusted to
Yeah.
playing online in the home
No,
games.
I haven't. I haven't adjusted at all.
Well, okay, so tell me a little bit about what's made that difficult or what it is about it. Because I think both these guys have played online, but they prefer playing live. So there is a different element to this.
don't we all, most of us, I think, prefer to play live. I think most recreational players prefer to play live anyway. It's part of being recreational, social. It's the whole watching your opponent, seeing the timing of what's going on, and that's difficult to do online. I mean, you do get a little timing stuff, but as far as any tell, so if you're more of an intuitive player, then I think that you have a harder time adjusting to online. If you're more of a mathematical player, like, then it'll just come naturally on the online. This is the right time to do this at the right, you know.
Yep. Yep. I think that makes a lot of sense. And I guess it cuts both ways too, because your opponents are also able to pick up less on you. But if that's less important to their game, that's a handicap for you more than it is for them. So I
Right.
can see how that. And then personally, I played more online than live. I think I do enjoy live more, but just when it comes to hours and hands put in, I've just done so much more online play that I actually feel like I'm at a distinct disadvantage live without my HUD and my ability to just sort of have the computer do all the math for me and that kind of thing. And I think I'm probably a bit of a tell box too. So it definitely goes both ways.
What do you think the live scene will be like, Jim, when we come back to it? Will people be better? Will, like, having all this time off and having put the real poker players are playing online, they're seeing way more hands than they would see live. Are we going to be facing a bunch of, bots when we go back to the poker tables live? Like, what do you think the scene will be like?
I think it's going to be bifurcated. I think there's going to be a minority of players that did study and played online and took this time to really hit the books and get themselves into fighting shape for when it comes. And I think most of the players are going to just be happy to be playing again. They're probably going to be a little loose and passive. I expect it's going to be a good time to be playing tight ranges and not bluffing too much for a little while. And I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. I can't wait to get
Me either.
so
Me either.
so given all that, I think I am prepared to pick I'm giving a slight edge to Chris here because I think he's going to use his analytical brain better in the heads up online environment. So I'm picking Chris. What about you, Kim? Official pick.
I'm going with a 55-45. Mathematical. On Chris, I'll also go for Chris.
Okay,
yeah.
so Rob's got some he's got something to prove because Twitter picked Chris and we picked Chris. So I think it's just because Chris is so freaking smart and he leads all our seminars. He does a lot of the learning material. He's the content director at Rec.Poker. So it's kind of hard to pick against the guy. So, all right, well, here we are. Why don't we, let's just switch over here onto the game screen and we will be ready for the very first match, Chris versus Rob. And the pace is quick, folks. So we're going to kind of skip through it. Put stuff in the chat there all you like, and we'll try and hit up to that too. So here we get a pretty sweet flop for Rob, who gets to get in here with King 9 offsuit. 5x5's not feeling too bad with 1 over and a back door. And it goes check, check on the flop. So I'm going to be very interested to see some of the open strategies that players employ here. It's going to start with 5,000
They're nice and
chips.
deep.
Yeah, that's just what I was going to say. Exactly. So they've got a lot of room to play. So Rob has the better hand. Will he value bet third pair on a paired board? He does, pretty big too. I love that play.
Excellent.
Yeah, make it look a little, yeah. And
plus he's got the king of diamonds, so he's
good point. Yep,
not worried about the diamonds. Sure wish they'd use a 4-color deck for these old eyes. But...
yeah, that's right. I do when I'm playing online. That's one of those perks, right? So very playable here. Yeah, we'll expect this to go through. Chris is out of position and is probably going to check 100% of his range there. Still ahead. Rob's probably just trying to get his king to showdown here. At this point, he'll check behind. Do you think Chris ever gets a value? No, he's probably not getting called by any worse. Well, he's going for it. About 2/3, yeah, and gets the fold. All right, there you go. So far, it feels like the two players are kind of just feeling each other out a little bit here. This is one of those hands where you just need a chance to fold. Yep. And we'll see an open from Rob, or maybe this is part of his limping range. Kim, what stack depth do you typically want to introduce a limping range, or do you start with the limping range from the small blind? Because when you're heads up, it's a very different dynamic. You get to play post flop in position. So how does that affect your
So,
play?
so I think when you're this deep, there's very small limping range. You shouldn't really be limping much at all.
Oh, sorry, Kim. The action is just
Sorry.
too sweet. With trip eights by Chris and Rob. Does he check behind? No. Does he call? Did he call the? All right, we'll have to. That could have been a bloodbath there. We'll have to get back into that one a little. I think he checked behind the ace on the river. That's a very disciplined checking behind top pair on the paired board there. I guess that's just a great read of the board texture and knowing that Chris wasn't going to call with anything worse. I would have been tempted to try and get a. Well, that's why Rob is just so darn good. All right, sorry, Kim, I cut you off there because you don't see
No, that's
trips
okay.
very often. So you'd say a very
Sorry.
thin limping range at that point?
Yeah, I don't think I'm seeing the same screen, but anyway.
Oh.
That's okay. Yeah, so limping in heads up, I was actually surprised by the first matches how few limps there were.
Yes.
That people were mostly using a raise first in strategy, which is quite exploitable in heads up.
Mm.
The small blind can just go all in or just 3-bet everything because you're raising everything. So your range is so wide. So I think when you're deep, you might limp 20%. And as you get shorter and shorter, right down to 10 big blinds where it becomes 80% or somewhere around there. And so it's gradual all the way down as your stack gets shorter, you should be limping more.
Yep,
and
I
we
like
can
that.
talk about what hands you should be limping in a future seminar on Pat Bet's page.
Hey, there you go. I love that. That's right. So in the action so far, I've seen some very restrained play. A lot of checkbacks with some value. No one's really getting out of line.
I think people should. I don't think anyone should ever be folding the button ever.
Yeah.
So I think open folds at this stack depth is maybe 5% of hands.
Oh my God, look at this flop though. So Rob has flopped
Wow.
a full house, and lucky for Chris, oh, he's going to take a stab at it though. Okay, so let's see if Rob cold calls here. He does. Give him a little more rope.
Yep.
Oh, I see Rick Day in the chat. Yeah, I think Rob learned that in my book, Rick. I think that's where he picked that up. Good call, Rick Day. That's right. That's exactly what it was. There you go. And going for the value bet on the river. I love it. See if he can get a call. I don't think Chris will call with ace high here, but oh, okay. Correct.
That's a pretty big bet for ace high to call, I think.
Yep.
Maybe a quarter pot might have done it, but
yeah, the bet sizing is going to be interesting here because these two players know each other really well, and I think when players know each other really well, they have a sort of, oh, he's bluffing me dynamic, and so I think some bet sizes get a little higher because there's a little less fold equity than there might be otherwise.
Yeah.
Oh, there, Rick Day coming back into the chat. Chapter 9, the power fold. That's right, Rick. I know you did a bunch of highlighting in Chapter 9. That was a really good chapter. That was right. Probably your second favorite after the big squeeze, if memory serves. So here we go. We're definitely going to see a flop here. Ace 3 suited versus King Jack off. 5x5, Chris has 2 overs and a back door. But with a paired board, Rob's ace high is probably going to be good here. Such a wet board, that 7, 7, 8, 10. And when the ranges are this wide pre-flop, I find it's really hard to range players conventionally on flops like that. Kim, do you have any experience with that, or is that something that troubles you as well? Do you have any tips for players that are trying to get better at that?
Sorry, say that again. I'm just having a hard time seeing the board, so I might have to
Oh,
go get my glasses.
sure. Yeah, no problem. Well, basically, when you're playing heads up, the ranges are very wide. And so it's
Right.
harder to range opponents post flop because they could just have such a wide range of holdings. Is there a trick that you've had with that, or do you have any experience, or is it something that confounds you as much as anyone else?
Well, I probably haven't had the opportunity to play heads up as much as I'd like to play heads up, as most
Yeah,
of us don't
for
have that
most of us,
opportunity.
yeah.
But right. So, but I find that it, yes, ranges definitely tend to stay wide. And I don't think you can really narrow them until you get at least to the turn, and
Hmm.
sometimes by the river, depending on what the action is.
And so is
So
the
I
exploit that you
haven't
just
seen
have?
many three bets here, though. I
Mm,
don't see much three betting going on. So I think I would like to see a little more three betting in these from a variety of ranges.
yeah.
Uh, and,
And you mean
that can
mostly
help narrow it.
pre-flop? You mean mostly pre-flop there, Kim?
Pre-flop, I'm not seeing it much
Yeah.
three betting yet going on.
And you should when there's
We're
this
this
little
deep.
limping. Yeah, yeah. When players are opening that small blind a lot,
Yeah,
you should be
yeah,
doing more three bets.
yeah, I
So
think so.
Jack nine suited, is that a good example of the kind of hand you might play into a three bet there, or do you prefer a call here in this spot?
I probably prefer a call in this spot with that kind of a hand. I prefer to three bet some really bad hands
Yeah.
and some hands that have opponents calling range dominated, like king
Mm.
queens,
Mm-hmm.
king, maybe some king highs.
Mm-hmm.
Calling three bets sometimes with aces and kings to just, I mean, I don't think much four betting goes on in these scenarios.
I
So
think that's right. And it's interesting because we were just talking about how ranges get wider. And so, Jack nine suited is a hand that full ring might play nicely as a three bet to balance out a value range if you want to have some combos in a polarized three bet range. But when you're heads up, that's actually moved up in your distribution enough that now you can call with the equity to call, and
mhm.
you don't have to have it in a three bet bluffing range. So you can have worse hands than that in a three bet bluffing range.
Yeah, I think with a hand like Jack nine suited, like you really don't want to get four bet on that.
Mm,
So that's really a hand you want to see a flop with. Whereas if you're playing really good hands that don't mind a four bet and really bad hands that you can throw out to a four bet, like balancing those, then that makes a little bit more sense.
yep, I like that. We got a comment from Rick in the chat here as well. It says, I would raise pre-flop regardless of hole cards until the opponent fights back. The co-host referenced needing more three betting. Yeah, that's what Kim was saying. And I agree, Rick, especially when you get into these heads up. I like to just start with the pedal down, and then let's see if they're going to push back, and then we can decide how we're going to play and how we're going to tighten up from there. So I like that approach. So we are at, when we talk about heads up play, we started with 5,000 chips each. And there's sort of some thresholds that come into play where your relative stack to your opponent matters a lot. So when you each have 5,000, obviously it's dead even. If you get down to 4,000, that means that your opponent has 6,000. So even though you only lost 1,000 chips because there's only one other person in the tournament, you're 2,000 chips behind. So it really affects the dynamic. It really affects sort of who can get out of line, who can afford to lose small pots. And we see, depending on how this hand turns out, we might see Rob. Oh, how about that? Yep.
Wow.
Nothing wrong with the
Yeah.
split pot. Gonna stay friendly for a little longer. So Rob still stays just above that 4,000 mark, which just means he's got nothing to worry about. He's in that Goldilocks zone where it's not too cold, it's not too hot. Everything's going great. Um, and the blinds have advanced to 2550, so that will of course bring a little more pressure along as we go.
Yeah, it's a little tougher for me. I'm being so used to since I've been online playing in big blinds. So now I'm having to do the
Mm.
math in my head again.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's true.
So
It makes a big difference, doesn't
it's,
it?
yeah. So I'm so used to like seeing everything in big blinds that it's
So here we
I,
get a
giving me
fun.
a second.
Yeah, and it does. It takes that time to process, doesn't it? So we got a
This is interesting.
check raise from Rab here with bottom pair, and
Yeah.
gets the bet call
And the
from
backdoor
Chris.
gut shot.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, Chris calls with top pair, no kicker, and backdoor flush. Rob takes the check raise, check the turn line, and Chris checks behind. And when Rob checks here, okay, and they just check it through, it looks like, so that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. So that check raise was a one and done.
One and done.
Take it
Yep.
there, and yeah.
And I think that's right with that kind of hand. You didn't really
Yeah.
have a lot of redraw equity other than that back door. So
Yeah.
when it doesn't come through, that tool can be discarded. I think that's the right way here.
Yeah.
Oof. I think if Chris takes another bet, I think Rob will call up to about
Yeah.
250 here.
Check.
Check. Yeah, he's not gonna. All right, that sounds good. I'll expect an open from Rob here with King 6 offsuit.
It's
Oh, sorry, I was.
yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
It's Chris opening. Yeah. This is interesting. We got middle pair
Mm-hmm.
and a gut shot versus, oh, and then we just
Oh
turn the
boy,
nuts. That's always fun.
it's nice to be Rob. What will happen? The problem with those 4-card straights is it is hard to get paid, isn't it?
Yeah.
He does
Very
put
hard.
out
And
the
that was
little bet.
that was a really good fold. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. Nicely done. And that's the one thing I don't expect either of these players is going to make any huge mistakes.
I think this could be a 3-bet on this hand.
Oh yeah, King Jack
Yeah.
offsuit. I like that. So
Yeah.
played as a call.
Yeah.
Gets top pair again. Chris is going to be checking pretty much 100% of the time. Pretty small C bet from Rob, which you'd expect a lot. Oh boy, this might cause some fireworks. Check. Ah, these guys are so trappy. They're so trappy, these little guys. Oh man, Rob can't help the check back. I think I probably bet the turn.
I don't understand the check back on the river there.
Yeah, I think Rob missed some value there. I think we'll look at that hand later, but I think Rob missed some value.
Here's another interesting hand.
Oh yeah, here we go. So check.
2 pair.
Tricky. Oh.
I told you they're trappy.
And then here comes the lead on the turn, and then Chris just smooth calls. So yeah. I think when Rob gets that trappy with it, he has to call, at that point.
Yeah.
Because that's that value check you're hoping to get bluffed into and call.
I don't know if I agree with folding a queen high on the button there.
Yep. Just feels like a hand heads up. You should be getting in with somehow.
You should be playing it. Yeah.
Yep,
This is why they just seem to be playing razor fold. And I think they need to bring I would like to see some limps come in.
Yeah. Limping is it's an underdeveloped part of the game, I think, at every level. And it's something that I really enjoy kind of the academic study of, but I haven't really put some time into building real ranges.
GTO uses limps a lot when you're heads up. There's a lot of limping going on.
Someone used to know in the chat says a lot less aggressive earlier on than I thought it would be. I agree. I also thought part of it's the deck, but not all of it. We've seen a lot of spots where there's been hands that could have gotten more chips in pre-flop, and they haven't, or on the flop too. So they're feeling each other out. They don't want to make the mistake that ends the tournament here. It's like very few.
I'd like to see a 3-bet from this ace-8 offsuit. Yeah.
And I wonder if I don't think they're afraid of 3-betting wide either, these players. So it's definitely a decision they've made strategically.
I don't know why, but we're definitely not seeing 3-bets here.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So I expect we'll see an open. And I bet Chris calls this.
Mhm.
Flops pretty nicely. Should get a bet from Rob because it's the range advantage here.
Yeah.
And does pretty big. Now that's interesting. That's a bigger bet than Rob's been c-betting. And he doesn't have a lot of equity, so he wants a fold here. And gets the check raise. And so I think Rob will let
like that
hand
check
go.
raise.
Yep,
I like
very
that
nice.
check raise.
Me
Very
too.
nice. Yeah.
Me too. It's a good board for Rob to be c-betting. And Chris actually has a good draw. So that's a good combination when you're looking for hands to check raise. Well done.
Yeah.
We got some more fun
see a raise.
Notes in the chat here. 3 bets are hashtag PetVet approved. That's right. Kim, we've got your first official hashtag. And Rec Poker Rob says he definitely needs to work on my heads up game. Is that Rob Washam? Is that Rec Poker Rob? He's in there talking about his heads up game. So Pet Vet approved. I like that hashtag.
Tune into the Pet Vet channel and we'll do some heads up.
That's right. Okay, so this is one of those blocker opens, right? I'd expect an open and then
a call.
And we get the call there. Yep. Rob, welcome to the chat, man. This is so much fun. We're all admiring your restraint so far. And I think it's served both of you well. Thanks. Cheers. So in here we've got Rob checking the turn again. Yep.
Yeah, I think he could lead the turn for a small bet there.
Although Chris has been playing so trappy too. When he checks behind the flop, I wonder if that actually weakens his range as much. I like this bet on the river.
Yeah. Delayed to the river. That's good.
Yep.
No problem.
But I do think that's the second spot where maybe Rob might have gotten some value on the turn. But by waiting to the river, he did not get that value, whether it's because a draw didn't come in or a scare card came or something. So I think Rob's missing some value on the turn so far.
Yeah. Sometimes you want to charge them while they still have a draw.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. So it's pretty juicy board for Rob to make nice. There you go. Why not? And I think Chris will probably end up calling with top pair. But I like the spot. I like drawing that line and saying we're going to make a play here.
Do you think that if he had a jack, he would bet more than 250? I feel like this could be like close to pot size, this bet here.
What does he do with like 8-9? Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
And then you have to fold to a re-raise, but I just think
you get more fold equity out of it.
Yeah.
I like the spot.
Equity.
I like the spot though, because I think it definitely, you can rule out a lot of Chris's jacks there. So it's a good place for it.
I think, was that just a raise and a call? I'm sure that pocket tens are a 3-bet.
Yeah, so Rob is he's adjusting his 3-bet. He's adjusting his 3-bet strategy pre-flop because I know that's in his that's in some of his 3-betting ranges just from the work we've done in study groups and stuff.
Right.
I know that's.
But have we seen any 3-bets?
No.
Right.
I don't think so. So boy, what a cooler here. Yeah, Chris has put in a 3-bet or two, but we haven't seen from Rob. Nasty run out.
Yeah, that was rough. That was rough.
And I think that is just poker, but that hurts. That hurts when Rob feels like he's stringing them along, right? And then that pairs like that, it's just no fun at all.
This is
so could see something here, yeah. And Rob does need to kind of start getting a little frisky. He's down at close to 2,000, which is that next real threshold that you have to worry about. It's going to start to become kind of one-sided here.
Yeah.
Makes the small turn bet. Can definitely get called from a lot of worse. I like that. There, see, he got some value for that turn bet.
Yeah, excellent.
And
And I like this
now,
too.
yeah,
No, he didn't make he just checked.
yep.
I think he can, yeah. Okay, that's fine.
I prefer bet turn check river to check turn bet river,
That river, yeah.
in my opinion.
I like this 3
Hey,
bet.
there's the 3-bet, pocket nines.
Yay!
He's getting them in. And I don't know, do you think Chris,
The 3 bet was
yeah,
a
it's
bit big for him to call.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's not a good, Chris is going to have a lot of other hands there that can proceed
Yeah.
in better shape than that. So starting to mix it up. Well, it's not really mixing it up, but he's adding some
Still-
3-bets to his game.
Yeah. We're still nice and deep, so
Yeah.
I would like to see Rob throwing in some limping here
Mm.
at this stack size. I would
Mhm.
like to see some limping starting.
Mm-hmm. I expect we'll get a bet from Chris here on the turn. He flopped top pair. There it is. About a third, easy to call. Although, I don't know. I mean, I guess Rob just feels like he has to call with king high there. So if it's a one and done, he can get that king to showdown. I bet Chris makes a bet here, and then I think Rob has to fold. Yep, that's right. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Now, is this, do you just fold this, Kim, or is this one of those limping? Yeah.
No, I'd
Yeah.
fold it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, once you get shorter here, you can't play quite as many hands.
That's right.
So
I like this as an open, and we'll see
Yeah.
Chris call.
I like a continue here.
Yeah, this should be a C bet from Rob.
I think that should be a C bet probably. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good board. Although Chris did do that check raise on him earlier, so maybe he's. And now I don't know if you can rep the aces easily. And I just get the king to showdown, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I think either of them could have taken that one away from the other though.
Yeah, it did feel like that, didn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're at the 35-70 blind level. So the blinds are coming
Our
along.
effective stack is
About 30
something big blinds.
Yeah. So still lots of room. King queen's an open for sure. And gets a call from Chris, who spikes the jack on the flop. Rob's got 2 overs and a gut shot, so I'd expect him to put a C bet in here. And same sizing, that earlier smaller sizing. And Chris has to continue and chooses to do so with a call.
So I think this could be a check back or a bigger bet. I think that this smallish bet's not going to get the folds he wants necessarily.
Yep.
And I think if he gets checked too, this is a jam. Yep. Nice.
Nice. Look at that 2x pot jam. Pet vet
Like
calls it out of the air. Nicely done. And I think Rob just has to have enough of those bluffs in there to make that jam hard to exploit by just folding to it every time. So, and I'm sure he does, because Rob's got the heart of a lion and a pretty good flop
play.
too. Yeah.
I love that play. Yeah.
So is that hashtag pet vet approved? Is that play hashtag pet vet approved?
Is this going to be a new hashtag now?
I think it is. Yeah.
Definitely hashtag pet vet approved.
So very, very exciting here. We've got, everyone's got a piece. It's going bet call. We get to the river. Rob's got second pair. Chris has top pair. And I expect it'll go check bet call at this point. Although Rob's down to, so about a half pot bet, and he does call, which I think he has to there with second pair. So Rob's down to 1,600. So he's going to have to start getting frisky. He's going to have to bring a little something, as he likes to say. He's going to have to start getting a little spicy here in the Washam. The Washam. A little throwback to our Reckies award show. So here we go. We got the open by Chris. Rob looking at 8-5 of diamonds. Great flop when you're calling with 8-5 of diamonds and just open shoves. Just says, Chris, what are you going to do to my overbet? Something about these overbet ranges, Kim. We talked about this in a forums episode recently, where even if all we do is tell you I'm shoving with 2 overs and a flush draw, it's hard to play against.
it was exactly what it looked like.
That was it, right?
It was excellent.
That was it.
It
We love
works.
that.
But the reason it's good is because it works so well.
And then you get hands like aces to reward you for that excellent brave play that you made, and you get to jam again. And I think, no, Chris can't call with King 5 suited, can he? I mean, he's ahead of a lot of the bottom of Rob's jamming range here is the problem.
Yeah, I
with
don't
hands
know.
like King 5.
I don't quite understand the jam there, Rob. Let's go for some value.
Well, Rob knows that Chris feels like he's got
Got him on the ropes.
Some maybe not so premium hands in that shoving range too. So, but yeah, it stinks when they oh my Lord, here we go. Oh, see, Chris is exploiting your tight ranges, Rob, by folding to you. you get the walk with pocket queens. That's not fair.
Yeah, that's not fair.
That's not the kind of walks we like. So we'll definitely see something here.
Hand.
We get the call from Rob, who likes playing these suited connector type hands. Feels like he can hit the flop a lot. And he's just, okay, so Rob is shifting gears. He is in shove mode. He's doing it with draws. He's doing it with over pairs. He's doing it with second pair. He's at that point in the tournament where he feels like his chip stack is short enough that it is time to put Chris to some tough decisions and realize some equity here. So 35, he's still got 30 big
30
blinds.
Something big blinds. Yeah.
I don't feel like he's that desperate, but I like that he's I mean, it's gonna have ripples through the rest of the match too. Like you kind of set the tone with some of this stuff. Another call. So now Rob's got the nut flush draw out of position and just a shove. He's definitely gonna get called. Yep. And needs the club. Oh, Rob, he goes out on his sword at least. That's it. You got to go out fighting. Got to go out swinging madly at your opponent. And Chris does take down the first match, but not through lack of heart. Yeah, well played.
Yeah, Rob was trying to take the high variance route, which is fine. That's, just put all your chips in the middle and try to get them to fold or take your variance.
Yep.
So
seems like he's also read my book. Yeah. And I think he once you get short like that, you can't be afraid to put your chips in the middle. And he definitely decided to when he had a good hand, he was doing it. And so he had to do it when he had those non-premiums as well, because then Chris doesn't get a chance to just exploit him by folding all the time. So it's an exciting strategy, and I'm sorry it didn't work out for Rob here, but he even chose a hand where he had a pretty good matchup against an opponent. I liked his equity when called.
Yeah, his equity was okay, but I just think there was still a lot more playability when you're still 30 big blinds deep, and it doesn't feel that way when you have a third of the chips of your opponent. But you've got to remember that you're still deep enough to be able to play the game to some degree.
Yep.
I don't know if you need to get into that shoving mode until you're 20 big blinds or so. 3-bet shove, yes, no problem there, but the open shoving, and I think you still have some playability.
Yep.
And the structures that we have in these games are pretty good. They're pretty slow, so we definitely have some time to wait for some hands. And card variants will bring the hands around to you if you are patient enough to wait for them.
Yep, that's true.
They may not hold up to the river, but it'll bring the hands around to you.
That's true. Well, there's some great comments in the chat here. Rec Poker Rob himself says, "I need a lesson, Kim." There you go. He'll be checking you out at rec.poker/FetFet. And Graphex16 Roger says, "My bracket is wrecked, but I believe Binkley says that his bracket stays perfect. So for every up there is a down out there, Rec Poker Nation. That's just how the world works. For every broken bracket, there's another one out there." So why don't we actually take a look at the standings for the brackets? That's one of the things we have. Is there one perfect bracket left here. Let me see what
I
we're
think
looking at
I
here.
think Eric,
Yes.
I think Eric is still perfect.
Eric has the perfect bracket, that lucky dog, and some really fun folks in this top next tier though. Gibber, Captain Walleye, Rick the Good Dog, and Pet Vet herself, all in here in second place with 5 points at the moment. And still in the running here, I think, are some of these other players. Ben Marr, our friend Elizabeth, Jamel, Mikey, Rich, Red Devil MN, Danny Schneids, and Graphics and John Lutzy still. Oh, actually, I guess, yeah, Graphics busted out there, but, or yeah, on, on the other one there. Sorry, bud. That's great. So there are still some Learn Pro Poker prizes. Ryan LaPlante's going to offer a free month to the top 4 brackets. So we'll see how that breaks down. And the next match tonight, Andrew Feist versus Taylor Maas. So Andrew is our learning affiliates director, and he has a bit of an unfair advantage in that every week he is going to all these premium training sites and looking at all their premium training content and deciding which little bits he's going to choose to share with Rec Poker premium members, whether it's pokercoaching.com, Learn Pro Poker, Solve for Why, Red Chip, the Forge with Sky Matsuhashi. We work with Lexi Gavin's training program. All these great paid, high-tech, cutting-edge training programs. And Andrew goes behind the scenes, picks videos, and shares them with Rec Poker members. So Andrew is very tied in to the next level of poker strategy. So he's definitely going to be. He's a technician when it comes to this stuff. He's up on the theory. Whereas Taylor is probably just the most naturally gifted poker player on the group, I think. He's got the best instincts. He seems to just know where he is in the hand. He value bets at the right time. He bluffs at the right time. He chooses really good sizings. I've tried to break him down in the games that we've played together. He doesn't have a lot of clear exploits. So I think it's anybody's game. It's kind of a theory versus practice breakdown for me in this one. I think Andrew's done a lot of studying, and he's definitely a good poker player. But I think Taylor has an edge just from hours playing very competitively and at a really high level. So I'm giving a slight edge to Taylor in this one. What do you think, Kim?
I think that I want Andrew's job when I grow up.
Yeah, that's right. No
That's what I
kidding.
think.
No kidding. I think that does sound like fun, doesn't it?
So I think I agree with you. I think this is going to be a very close match as well. I think that it may just come down to card distribution here.
Mm.
Taylor may have a slight edge because of his experience of more hands in the vault, but I think it's going to be really close.
Yep.
So I agree.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And the winner of this match will be playing against Chris in the championship next week on March 25th at 9 p.m. and Eastern, of course, 8 p.m. Central for all our Central friends. And Taylor was the community pick via Twitter here as well. So we put a poll out for each of the matches that we have coming up, and Taylor was the pick there as well. So as we get ourselves set up for next week, I wonder what Chris is rooting for here, because if I was Chris, I wouldn't really want to be playing against Taylor or Andrew. I think I think he has more experience playing against Taylor, because I think they actually played in the same home game or something before all this new COVID world started happening.
I would be the same. I would prefer to play against Taylor just because I have more hands on him and more stats on him and more knowledge, and Andrew is like an unknown.
Yeah, and it's funny, that does matter, doesn't it? I mean, when you get down to like the players that you want to play against, the style and being familiar with them is part of the fun we have too. I know players like you and I, Kim, that like to sort of exploit players and make them pay for their mistakes. So
No,
knowing,
never. I
no,
never do
no,
that.
I mean,
No.
certainly we do it very respectfully in an encouraging and vibrant manner
I'm
as we do
sorry.
everything.
In a Canadian way.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh yeah, we have an all Canadian commentary panel here. I hadn't even occurred to me.
Yeah.
We're taking over, eh? Uh-oh,
Hey, you
look out.
hoser.
Look out, Rec Poker. Look out, Rec Poker. The border battle is on. Holy cow. I've gotten so used to having all these Canuckians in our different study groups and debates
Yeah.
and panels. I didn't even occur to me. Holy cow. Well, here we are.
Get
Break
ready
out the
for a
maple
few
syrup.
more
Yeah,
coming in.
yeah, that's right. That's what get more of these awesome Canadians in into the Rec Poker community. Oh, that's fantastic. So, I think with that, why don't we take a look over at the next match, where we will see Andrew and Taylor going at it here, head to head. So, dealer 412 is Andrew Feist, and regular watchers on Thursday will have no problem recognizing GopherBoyTJM and the Grinch, the Ginch logo that Taylor uses here. And on the very first hand, looks like Andrew flops top pair on a paired board, and I looks like from his weight, he's going to put a small C bet out there. And Taylor's got ace high. He knows it's a board that most people miss. With a small bet, he's going to continue with a minimum defense frequency in mind, try and get that ace to showdown.
And was this just a single bet, single raise and a call pre?
Single raise
Okay.
pre-flop. Yep.
Yeah.
And I expect we'll see more 3-bets in this match.
Okay.
Pre-flop, both these players are very theoretically versed.
Let's go.
Yeah, there you go. And so here we go. We get the bet and the call on the turn. Hey, we've got Ryan LaPlante in the chat. Ryan, great to see you down there. He's doing a little recon work for next week. He's going to be in your seat, Kim.
Yeah.
Nice to see you, Ryan. It's a real treat to have you in the chat, bud. And so here we are. We get another hand pre-flop, an open and a call. Taylor flops top pair in position. And this is a good c-betting board. And he puts one out there for a little less than half pot. And I think Andrew, I feel like he's going to fold, but he's not without equity here. So I don't mind if he oh yes, the check raise from Andrew. He's one of those hands where he knows he doesn't really have enough equity to get to showdown, but he has a little backdoor and he wants to take advantage of a spot where Gopher Boy is going to be c-betting quite a bit. So I love that. I love that check raise, and I expect he will completely shut down now on the 3 turn, or he might try and get one more. Okay, so this is just surely he's got the
pick up with a gut shot.
Yeah, he's got this. The back door did come in, so he's got one more street here. I expect Taylor's going to call. I don't think he benefits from a raise.
I think this bet should be bigger if he's going to go for it. If he's going to bluff here, his bluffs and his values have to be a bit bigger, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. That'll get checked behind. Yeah. And I like the play, Andrew, though. I like that's the right kind of spot. You walked into Taylor actually having top pair there, but I think that was in a lot of spots there, Taylor's just going to flop, just going to fold to your check raise. And when you pick up that turn, that's a nice place to turn it around. So scary flop. Looks like, yeah, Ryan says he would have followed through. I think that's right. I think that's and sometimes you're going to lose, right, Ryan? Sometimes they're going to have the queen and they're going to call, and so be it. That doesn't mean it's not a good play in the lab.
I think, are they going to call a 2 times pot bet?
Right.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
So those are tough to pull, but
it's true.
Got to be in the bag.
Got to be in the bag. Got to have them there to use when the time comes, right? I love it. So here we got another King X open from Taylor. That's going to be a lot of opening. There's that 3-bet range you were looking for, Kim, that ace rag offsuit. I love using that. It's got blocker value. It's got some wheel playability. It's not a great hand, but it's a good one to mix it up. Again, I feel bad for Andrew. He's making good plays, and Taylor is just hitting value, unfortunately. So it's going to make it hard for Andrew to keep the pressure on throughout the match.
Right.
So what do you think about the bet sizing here, Kim? That's about a quarter pot.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
That's
because
fine on that
it
kind of
doesn't
board.
really, yeah, exactly. The texture doesn't really, the flop doesn't really favor his 3-betting range as much. So he can get some folds from air with that, and that's really all he's going for. And I don't think Gopher Boy is going anywhere here. And I expect this will go check, check.
Yeah.
We got some fun chat, some fun comments in the chat here. Chapo Australia is calling in. Nice to see you, Troy. We got another hashtag pet vet approved in there, so that's really happening, Kim. And Taylor and Andrew each have half of Chris Jones's favorite hand right now. So let's see how this plays out. This is a anyone who bets at this pot gets to win it kind of a situation. Who will it be? Gopher Boy, and I do think he'll get the fold. There
I
you
like
go.
that bet.
Yep.
Yeah. With the pretty much the nut low.
Yes, you're not tapping that one on the table later and getting paid. So, and not just an open fold with 3-6 offsuit. And Andrew has just reached that 4,000 chip threshold. So he's now in that next
he's only got
zone.
150 big blinds now.
Yeah, that's right. Now it's different. It's not really about how many big blinds you have so much as who has a substantial chip lead in the tournament. So once they get deeper, once they get shallower, it'll make a bigger difference. But it is that kind of thing. You just need to.
I think it gets in their heads. I think it gets into the people's heads here,
Yep.
and not thinking about their actual stack size. And they're thinking about the fact that the other guy's got way more chips than me. So, and I think you got to not let that get in your head and just play your stack
Yep.
as you should.
Play your stack. When I used to play a lot more, I had a couple little post-it notes up around my monitor, and one of them was play your stack. And that was it.
Yeah.
I think it's the most important thing you can do. All the rec poker HUDs and stuff that we use, the one stat that's bigger than all the other ones and it's underlined is your stack size in big blinds. It makes such a huge difference.
Nice
so 4,
river.
5, 6, 7, 8. Anybody? Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
So here they are, splitting pocket twos. That's no fun. And Andrew still has.
This is interesting.
Here we go. Yeah.
Open fold.
Yeah. See, Taylor outplayed him there by not folding.
Yeah.
Made a big difference. I expect we'll get a call here from Andrew.
Yeah.
And this will go check bet. I
Maybe
wouldn't be surprised if he got a call. He's got 2 back
3 to a
doors here
flush,
with
3 to a straight.
Yeah, yeah. And in these heads-up battles, you can't be overfolding flops because there's just too many.
And an over.
Too much garbage. So. Yeah, I think he'll probably call here. Not bad.
Open-ended.
Yep, brings in some of those outs that he needed. We'll get another.
Depends on the sizing here.
Yeah, I mean Taylor's definitely betting though, right? I mean it's not he definitely doesn't want to get called now. There's a lot of 2-pair hands out there.
Yeah, that's okay.
I think that's right. I like that. I expect we'll get an open from Andrew here using that king blocker. Yep. And is this a 3-betting hand for Taylor, do you think, or just a call? Just a call.
I don't think with stacks this deep. I think if he's a lot shallower, he can. This is kind of the kind of hand you would want to jam over an open, but
yeah.
Or
it's near that kind of cutoff, right? Because you're always going to be 3-betting slightly bigger pairs like that, like 8s and 9s in a spot like this. It gets there with the king on the river.
Well, that's tip for tap.
Yes, that's true.
Taylor got there on the river, the other hand.
That's a good point. And it does all go around, doesn't it, folks? A lot of poker, if you're not doing something differently than your opponents, you're all just kind of trading chips around and paying the rake. So you got to be doing something differently that gives you an edge, whatever that is in the games that you're playing. Now that call, so I guess Andrew's trying to get his king to showdown here because I don't see a lot of good turn and river cards to that half pot C bet, and I expect this will get the folds.
I like that call if you're in position there because you can steal if they goes check on the turn.
Yep.
So, but hard to do out of position.
Yeah.
Hard to get to showdown out of position.
Right.
That kind of hand.
Yeah, especially heads up because your opponent knows that you're trying to get to showdown a lot. So if you're not betting, you're probably trying to get to showdown, and so that makes you easier to. It makes it easier for your opponent to get you off. Hashtag phrasing.
Someone's getting some nice cards.
No kidding.
Hitting the.
You said that was happening last week too, right? You said Taylor's got a word into John Somsky, the online home game coordinator. He's saying, "Hey, John, just turn the screws a little on GopherBoyTJM." I think we'll see a 3-bet here from Taylor. King 6, a nice open.
Yeah.
I wonder what the sizing will be.
405.
405. Yep, that looks about right.
I think it could be a little smaller, but that's fine.
I think Andrew, something tells me Andrew's going to call here. Yeah.
Wow.
He does. Oh, no.
This looks like a cooler city starting.
The death knell. Yeah, that's not going to work out well for Andrew, I don't think. At least he's in position, so he's going to get to control the size of the pot.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens here. So we got a small C bet, which is right given the dynamic. And
I like a call here.
I like a call too. No sense getting out of line. Keep his bluffs in range and just call.
Yeah.
All right. Pretty innocuous card for both players. I think really the only thing Taylor doesn't want to see is a 6 on the river. He doesn't know that. So, oh, interesting. Taylor.
I like a check back here.
For Andrew, yeah.
It's just your kicker's so bad. It's almost like you're bluff catching here. That you've either got them crushed. He's either got Taylor crushed with his king, or he's losing. So I think this is just a call. Has to be a call. It's a big bet though. This would be a really good fold if you can fold. But
yep. Oh, he goes for the shove. And Taylor calls.
And sees the bad news.
There it is, Andrew, bad luck. Oh man, we said right off the bat that was a cooler hand. We said it right there.
It was.
Oh, Andrew. Well,
luck.
Last week we had a cooler hand. This week we had a cooler hand, and that is too bad. I think maybe Andrew could have gotten away from that one with some chips left by calling.
Yeah, I think it's just a call because I think when it's a 3-bet pot, you have to put possibly aces in your opponent's range as well as all the better kings. Pocket queens hit a set. So I don't know that the big bet's coming in there, and you're either winning or you're way behind. So just call. I think it's a bluff catcher.
Well, I want to catch up on some
easy in retrospect.
Yes, it's always easier when you can see the cards, right? And I think Taylor really got some extra value there by checking the turn, because I think he weakened his range to Andrew's eye enough that Andrew then thought he had a chance to get in there ahead. And conventionally, I was going to say in real time, I think that turn plays better as a bet for Taylor, but he just knew he had the soul read on Andrew that
if a blank came on the river, he'd get value. Yeah.
And that was it. So these guys know what they're doing. So we got some fun comments in the chat here about a previous hand. Ryan LaPlante says that Jack 9 works pretty well as a check raise or a check call. Yeah, you got a lot of that equity already in that one. And speaking of home games, he will be playing in the one on Sunday. That's great. That's going to be our second ever Learn Pro Poker Sunday night tournament. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And the winner of that tournament, on which we do every Sunday at Rec Poker, the winner gets a free month at Learn Pro Poker, and whoever takes Ryan LaPlante out of the tournament, whoever wins that bounty, also gets a free month to Learn Pro Poker. So Ryan's going to have a little target on his head for that one. It starts at 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 6 Pacific. And yeah, that's it. And you can tell anyone who wants to learn more about that to go to rec.poker/home game, and all the details are there about how to join and all the different series we have. We have 10 tournaments every week. John Sobsky's lying in the fetal position, curled up in a ball somewhere.
I ask John Somsky how I can get seated to Ryan's left.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, John, can you get on that? I want to play on Sunday, but only if I can sit to Ryan's left. That's going to be a lot of fun, Ryan. I'm so glad you're joining us for that. And thanks for sharing those prizes. You guys do so much great stuff at Learn Pro Poker. It's a real treat for our premium members to get to go take a peek behind the curtain. And I'm really looking forward to having you in the booth here next week as well. I think we're going to learn a lot and have a wonderful time. Cheers. Thanks, Bob. So here we are. That is, and we know now it's going to be Chris versus Taylor in the championship match. So let's take a look at the updated standings, and we can see who's still in it. And okay, so interestingly, we've got Binkley, who still has the perfect bracket, and Gibber, Captain Walleye, and Rick the good dog, are all still in contention here. Those top four, if things play out the way that without changing, I expect those four will win the free month at LPP. So we won't say anything until it's done. We got a whole other week, and next week is a 2 out of 3, and there were some tiebreakers built into the bracket around the number of matches that would be played and that kind of thing. So we'll see who is the real winner at the end, but I'm excited to see.
I see Benmar is the only other one down there that has Taylor and Chris in the finals, as well as, I guess, oh, there's others that have Chris to win, but she's the only one that's got Taylor over Chris. So that'll be interesting.
There you go. Yeah, that's not one of our other Canadian friends, Elizabeth. So I hope she's watching, or maybe watching the video, and I hope she wins a free month at Learn Pro Poker. I kind of hope she doesn't, because she's already killing it, and the rich keep getting richer. I see all these killers in the free Jatin training course, taking the Learn Pro Poker courses, just climbing the ranks in the home games. Learning together like we all do here at Rec Poker. It's what I love most about it. The people that we meet, the people that we hang out with all the time and learn together with. It's fantastic.
It's one of the best things about this site. It's you can keep on learning, and there's no end to how much you can grow your game, and no end to all the connections you can make and new friends.
It's true, and it sounds kind of a little sweet, but I've made some real friends here at Rec Poker that I know I'm going to be in contact with for a long, long time, and I'm definitely making the trip down next time we get a chance to do Rec Poker Day at Running Aces or something like that, because I want to meet more of these folks in person and do some live play and get to know them better, because it's really been a treat getting to know everybody.
Yeah, carpool time.
Yeah, that's right. Everyone's got to go get the shot first, then it's only a matter of time. So we've got Chris and Taylor, circled them for next week. Ryan says Taylor was his pick. We got his bracket pick all picked out. And so let's talk a bit about how we think that's going to go down. So, wow, Chris versus Taylor. I honestly, share.
No, I'm gonna love this match, especially since it's the best 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
And I said right along it'll go to 3 match. I'm predicting now it goes to 3 games, 3 matches, and right down to the wire. I think this is going to be a really exciting final.
I hope it does, because I think if people asked me to vote for like who were the 2 strongest poker players at Rec Poker, like on the core team. It would be hard to get it down to 2, and I'd probably want to pick like 3 or 4. But I think the 2 I would pick are Taylor and Chris. And
Mhm.
so the fact that we're going to get to see them go head to head, best 2 out of 3, for all the bragging rights on the line for MaREC Madness, is going to be a real treat. And I'm glad it's best 2 out of 3 because this is a real battle of the Titans, and I don't want this to be decided by some fluke, by
Right.
some cooler hand. So I'm glad we're going to have a nice deep structure. We're going to have a chance to get a lot of play, and I want
And
to
we're going to have the benefits, some really good strategy talk from Ryan.
Yes, that's right. Exactly, exactly. It's gonna be a treat for everybody. We got some more fun comments in the chat here. Someone I used to know saying, "I just want to know how many times Taylor's going to open fold 5-5." I think that's Taylor. You should open fold 5-5, and then you have to flip. You have to flip it over in the game so that they can see, so that you can show Chris the ultimate sign of disrespect. Oh, I hope you do. Taylor says he won't. He says he won't. It's even he can't. But how fun would it be to crush him with his own hand? That's true. It would be great if you could beat him with his own hand. But I'll tell you something, Taylor. Be careful with that. I've tried that before. And when you try to beat Chris with pocket fives, it's like using someone else's dagger to stab them with. It knows. It twists in your hand, and it'll make you hurt yourself. I think I tried to take him out with 5-5s, and no, it went terribly. He hit like some four card straight or 4 card flush or something, because it knew that he was its true master. So you're better off just open folding it if you're not Chris Jones. He's the only one who knows. Uh,
Uh,
so yeah,
so
go ahead.
Ryan says he'll try not to make it too boring next
Oh,
week. And I think all us poker geeks are already tuned in.
yeah, that's
Like,
right. Darn tootin'. And we've even got the original poker geek himself, Poker Geek MN, the one and only John Somsky, saying that he also predicted Taylor versus Chris. And I think that's going to be a treat. That's going to be a treat for everybody. And yeah, Chris is going to fold on every flop that has a 5 on it because he can't lose to his own hand. So obviously these guys are going to have no fun at all. That's the one thing that we know for sure. It's not going to be fun. Um, Ryan and I are going to have a real tough time chuckling ourselves because Ryan and I don't get along either. So who knows? Just tune in. You can see it all happen. So I guess we should make some predictions here. People in the chat, type your predictions in now, and I'll mention them here on the show before we get out of here. I think the Twitter poll will go out next week, so I don't think we have a Twitter poll yet. And I am leaning. Oof. I do think it's gonna go. I don't think it's gonna. I think it is gonna be a best 2 out of 3. I think you're right.
I'm going to say first,
Do
since
it.
I don't want to copy you.
Okay, get out there. Put it out there.
My original pick was Chris to win it all, but I
Yeah.
think Taylor has some nice, what's it called when you have everything going in your
The mojo.
direction?
He's
got the mojo. Yeah,
he's in the
got
flow.
the poker mojo going. He's in the flow. He's got the deck going for him. I'm gonna have to just pick Taylor on this one now. Sorry, Chris, you were my pick originally.
Well, I am gonna actually go. I'm gonna take the other side of this one. I think they're both such good players that it could go either way. I think Taylor has been getting some good hands, and eventually that has to go the other way. I think my gut's just telling me that Chris is going to grind this out. He's going to get a couple good spots. I'm going to put my pick on Chris. I think Chris Jones is going to be the champion. Pet Vet Kim, you think it's Taylor? Let's see if anyone in the chat has a couple guesses. Looks like Chapo Australia says that Chris wins in the tie break. Yep. Gibber, my buddy Jim was just talking about run good, which is it equally applies to both players, Jim. So just to be clear, Poker Geek Minnesota says that either Taylor or Chris take it all down. Oh, you're really going out on a limb there, John. That's classic John Somsky. All right. Well, the one person I can't go any further without mentioning is really Taylor Maas. the producer. He's not just a phenomenal poker player and coach, but he's also been producing all this stuff. He's behind the scenes making all this stuff happen seamlessly. I'd take my hat off, except I have these headphones around it. So I'm going to take my hat off to you, sir. Thank you so much for all that you do. And I'm looking forward to seeing this all go down next week. Does anyone have anything that they would like to add at this point? Any other chat? Stewie has a comment in there for Chris taking the win. And next week, again, you can go to twitch.tv/poker at 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central. And I'll be here myself. I'll be joined by Ryan LaPlante. We'll be watching this great tournament finish between Chris and Taylor. And as Gibber says in there, that's right, to the top, my friend. Well, thank you, Kim, for joining me. I hope everyone goes to rec.poker/petvet and checks out her page. Thanks to everyone in the chat for having so much fun with us tonight. Thanks to Steve Fredlin for running this whole thing, and everyone in Rec Poker Nation for joining us. And I'll see you all next week. Thanks again, everybody, and have a wonderful night.
Thanks all.